whatever secret you are keeping from your spouse, they know. They already know. You're not winning any points. You're not protecting them by not telling them. They know. They're just showing a great deal of love and understanding by not calling us out for our garbage. They know. In fact, everybody in your inner circle knows. Because every time we try to keep a secret, especially a secret that is sin, evil, and wickedness, we simultaneously broadcast, I am keeping a secret shame, so that everybody that meets you knows that you're doing it. It's so much easier just to be honest. But I know transparency is very traumatic. Transparency is very traumatic because we are so used to being rejected and judged, condemned and shamed by others. So the very idea of being honest and completely open and transparent with God scares us. And to be open and honest and transparent with another person terrifies us. The trauma of transparency. Let me give you 2 4s. 2 4s. 8. Let me give you 4 fears that cause transparency to be a trauma to our lives. 4 aspects of transparency that are bullets that just tear us apart. And then I want to give you 4 positives. 4 good things that happen when you are transparent, when you are honest, when you no longer fear exposure. So let's do the bad news first. You, of course, will totally identify with these 4 because we all are in agreement that this is us. We do not share transparency because of the guilt and shame. We are so comfortable with the guilt and shame we have, we don't want to tell somebody else about our burden because they will pile the guilt and shame on us. You're afraid of being judged, therefore you aren't transparent. That's what it boils down to. And we've all had those BFFs on the playground in 5th and 6th grade who you shared a secret with, probably a secret crush. Ooh, isn't she good looking? And they immediately tell somebody and it gets back to them. We've all been betrayed by being transparent with somebody, and it all starts on the playground in middle school for some reason. So we've been conditioned to it. And so it's better to suffer ourselves with the weight than to share with others because we're afraid of that guilt and shame. We're afraid of being rejected by others. If I tell this person, they may completely reject me. Cold shoulder, delete my friend status on Facebook, not answer my phone calls and texts anymore. They may completely disown me now that they know what I am dealing with. And all we want to do is belong. Rejection, judgment. The third idea, the trauma, what we don't share, why we don't share, is because we're worried that they've got a big mouth. If they don't shame and guilt us, if they don't reject us, you know a secret shared between 2 people is no secret at all. And so to tell them is to tell the world. And you know all the other people, it's going to, game of telephone, it's going to get that much worse. There's going to be unspeakable avalanches of shame and guilt. People you barely know are going to be rejecting you. And so, to avoid that trauma of transparency, we keep it a secret. And then fourth, Americans have the worst self-esteem of humanity, it seems like. I don't know why. I think social media and Hollywood has made it worse rather than better, because we compare ourselves with the best social media stuff that goes out there, but they only put the absolute great things. They never put the fights and the flat tires and the ugly stuff. So we all have this voice in our head that, again, goes back to being a toddler in elementary school and middle school, that tells us that we aren't worthy, that we aren't good enough, that we are faking it, and that's the only reason we're surviving. And so the last thing we want to do is be transparent, because all of a sudden their reaction will reinforce our own low self-image. And we don't need beat up that way. We don't need beat up that way. You never give the enemy ammunition. And so these are the four things that prevent us from being transparent. It's the four things that keep people from being transparent to God or transparent with one another. Let's go to the four positives, because there's got to be a little good news in the midst of this, right? Woo! We're surviving it. Okay, four good things. Transparency heals. Transparency heals. That's why there are support groups. That's why there are therapists. That's why there is AA. Saying what you're dealing with immediately applies healing to the wounds that are causing it. As long as we keep our mouths shut, we remain bleeding out. But if we will talk about it, that brings healing in medicine. So since we're all wounded, and since we're all broken, and this is a safe place, let's start healing by just acknowledging it. Transparency also brings growth. As long as you keep all this baggage, all of this sin, all of this wounds to yourself, it's a weight that carries you down. It's cement on top of your fertile soil, my friends. And so what little growth you experience as an individual walking with Jesus is weeds who have found the crack. But when you are transparent to God and to the faithful, that cement is broken. All of a sudden, fertile soil is available. All of a sudden, seeds can take root and they can grow. One of the most powerful things about being transparent and experiencing healing and growth is that it strengthens you as an individual, and it strengthens you with the ability to help others. That's why persecution is so good for your faith, my friends. Because when you go through this traumatic experience of being transparent, so that you're no longer afraid of your deeds being exposed, and it brings healing and it brings growth, then you are stronger for it. You have stronger faith in God. You have stronger confidence in the people around you because they came to your rescue, because they supported you and helped you. And then all of a sudden, you are emboldened with a testimony to help others down that journey. That's what AA meetings are about, or NA meetings, or SA meetings are about. You're an alcoholic who needs help. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I have gone through this. Lean on me in my strength, according to Bill. Heals, grows, strengthens. It also empowers. And for me, this is the most important one, because you get to see God work. You bring garbage and trash to a holy God, and a holy God takes care of it. You share your journey of dealing with trash with the faithful people around you, and God uses them as part of the healing, growth, and strengthening process, and you feel empowered because you're not in this alone. These people have your back. Now all of a sudden, a real team effort is happening. You're empowered in truth and light. But we don't